Okay, so in another episode, I don't know if that episode came out before this one or like what the order of operations here is. I was telling about a student that I've been working with over the last couple of months on a product and an offering. It's a great product, great offer, but he was struggling to get customers. And the first thing that we diagnosed was lead flow. He just wasn't making enough offers. He wasn't making people aware that he existed. So in that episode, I talked about how to do that. And I think that's the first problem that most of us need to solve within our business. If it's not growing, it's usually a lead flow problem. The next problem then is a conversion problem. Say we're getting the leads. Now, how do we actually convert those interested potential customers into actual customers? And that can be tricky. And first, you need to identify what your metrics are by which you're measuring success or failure. Like, what's a good closing rate? And that's going to be different for everybody, different on the product offering, different on your positioning in the marketplace. So I can't offer much there, but you need to have some kind of a realistic frame for this. My student, he had I think 6 sales calls in the previous month, and he was able to convert 3 of those. So he took that to mean like he wasn't doing very good. But for context, the product that he is selling is like $2,500 to $3,500. He doesn't have a lot of authority in the space, in the sense that he doesn't have like a big brand that everybody looks to and says that's the guy to go to, right? So it's a mid level offer for a guy that doesn't have a lot of brand authority. So I look at that and I think, oh, 50% conversion rates, that's not too shabby, honestly. Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty good. And just because you didn't convert those people now, maybe they'll convert later, who knows? But there was a couple of thoughts that came out of that conversation for like, how do we continue to hone and refine the process? And so I wanted to share with you just a simple framework that I use to frame the sales call at the beginning in a way that tends to lead to higher conversions on the back end. And then one secret trick that I'm going to share with you at the end, which I'm pretty sure would have converted at least one more of those customers for my student if he had done this one technique. So stay tuned for that. But here's how I frame the sales call. First is, why now? Why now, right? You've been struggling with this problem for a while. It's not something that just came up in your mind today. So why is it that we're hopping on this call now? Like, what's the thing that's motivated you to finally take action and start pursuing, a course that would lead to a solution? And I don't say it in that way. I just usually just say, so why now? What brings you here? I'm listening then for the cues, the things that they tell me that then I can reflect back to them later. But this is important for them to tell you exactly why. Because a lot of times people, they'll come in and they want to be non-committal and they'll be like, oh, I'm just collecting information. If somebody's just there to collect information, I tell them, cool, well, let me know when you're ready to make a decision. This is, a high ticket thing. My time is very valuable and I'm only working with people who are ready to make a decision right now and start moving forward. If that's you, awesome, let's continue the conversation. But if that's not you, then I totally understand. I think we just save ourselves some time because all the information that you need is already out there. Like, information probably isn't your problem. It's application, it's personalization, it's accountability, it's those things. But information is probably not the problem, right? So getting very, very clear, why now are you trying to solve this? Then I move into why me? Right? Like, why me? How'd you find me? Why is it that you think I can help you? What brings you here with the hopes that I'm the guy? And sometimes that's just, hey, I saw one of your videos, thought that was cool. You clicked and I thought I'd reach out. It's cool. That's helpful. Sometimes it's like, hey, I've been following you for 7-8 months and I've consumed everything that you put out and I decided finally, like, blah, 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 now's the time. Or so-and-so recommended you, right? Getting a frame for why they're choosing to be with you is a helpful way of getting them to sell themselves on you. Because now they're like, oh, so-and-so recommended. Oh, cool. Now in their mind, they have a little bit of like social proof, a little bit of consistency, and you've brought that back to the surface so it doesn't get lost in the equation. Sometimes they're just like, I don't know, I just got hit with an ad, and now I'm here. You're like, sweet, that's helpful, cool. You don't need to spend too much time on there, but you do want to address why now, why me? All right. Next is, so is this like a sooner or a later type of thing? When are you hoping to get this solved by? This is helpful to phrase it in this way. Not, hey, is this a later or a now thing, or a later or a sooner thing? That's usually how I frame it, not sooner or later. I usually frame it, is this a later type of thing or is this a sooner type of thing? And that particular framing is really important because it gives them an immediate non-pressure way of backing out. If they're like, oh, I'm kind of a later thing. But if you lead with the sooner, you're kind of implying like a little bit of pressure there. But if you're just like, hey, is this a later type of thing, or sooner for you? And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get them to say, oh, this is a sooner thing. I want to solve this now. Because again, we're going to be leveraging one of those 6 tools of influence that Robert Cialdini talks about in his book, Influence and the Science of Persuasion, is consistency. When we say things, we tend to try to act in alignment with that thing in the future because we want to be seen as consistent, reliable people. And so if I say this is a sooner type of thing, and then we get to the end of the sales call and it's like, hey, are you ready to move forward? You're like, yeah, I think this, maybe a little bit later. I'm not ready for it now. It's like, oh, but earlier you said that this is a sooner thing, that you're ready, you're feeling the pain, you're ready to take action and get momentum and solve this problem so that you can have this goal that you've been, dreaming of. So now we can use that leverage, not as a manipulation, but as to say, hey, help me understand, you said this. And I understand like making decisions can be hard and scary and we don't want to make the wrong one. And so sometimes the fear gets in the way, but let's walk through how do we make a good decision and make sure that all our bases are checked. And if they are, and we have all the inputs for a good decision, then let's make that decision because it's not going to go away. The information isn't going to change. The only thing that's going to change is the time that you'll have lost in the meantime, time that you could have been spending moving towards your goal. Yeah. Okay. So sooner or later type of thing. Most people at this point, they're going to say, oh, it's a sooner thing. That's why I'm here now. I want to solve this, right? Cool. Last thing I do in the framing section is awesome. Is there anybody else, any other decision makers that should be on this call? And this is important because I don't want to waste my time pitching and going through this sales process if at the end you're just going to say, oh yeah, I didn't tell you about my partner. He's actually the decision maker, or my wife. I need to run this by her. By putting it at the front, they either say, oh yeah, my partner needs to be here. Cool. Let's reschedule so we can get you both on here and have a better conversation. Yeah. Save both of our time. Or if it's no, I have, I can make this decision on my own. Perfect. Then awesome. That's great. Like, because at the end of this, I like working with people who are, decision makers, who move with momentum, who recognize that time is a valuable resource and that we don't want to be wasting it by just hemming and hawing, going back and forth all the time. Right. So we get them to identify that this is a problem that they're looking to solve now and that they are capable of making the decision, so that they can't use that as an out later on, because people will try to use that as the easy out later on. And a lot of sales is just not letting people lie to themselves. And it's one thing for them to say, no, this isn't a good fit for me. It's not a good product. Awesome. Tell me that. Like, we want to get to the no if it's a no as soon as possible. And that is what these questions are trying to get to, is like, we want to find a reason to say, no, this isn't a good fit as soon as possible, so we don't waste time. And maybe we can point them in the direction of something that will actually serve them. All right. Now, the next reframe, that I use right at the end of all of this is, now I don't know like if this is going to be a good fit for you, but in this conversation, my goal is to figure out if we can actually work together, if I have a way of helping you solve your problem. If I don't, that's totally cool. We're just going to, I hopefully can make some recommendations towards somebody else or some other product that can serve you. But if I can help you, like, that means it's within a very narrow niche of what I'm good at, of what I'm great at, and what I know I can deliver on. So let's spend this time exploring what your problems are. Let's lay out a roadmap for how we would solve those. And then at the end, if there's a way that we can work on those together, I will lay out what that looks like. But for now, let's just see if there's a good fit here. And what that does is it just disarms people, because you're telling them, hey, I'm prepared to say no if this isn't a good fit. And now they're not waiting for you just to try and sell everything. And the truth is, like, great sales people are not just trying to make the close. They're actually trying to fit you with the product that is going to best serve you. That's what true sales is in my book. Like, true ethical sales is selling people the thing that they need, not because you want to make the sale, but because it's a thing that their life is missing in that moment and that will move them towards their stated goals. So do those things to frame the conversation at the beginning, and you will have much more success on your sales call, guaranteed. Now, at the very end, this is the secret trick that my student was wondering about. He's like, I let these people off the call, and they're psyched. They say they want to move forward, and I tell them what the next steps are, and I'm going to send them over the checkout link and all this stuff, and then they just ghost me. I don't hear back from them. And I go, well, why don't you just send them the link right there on the call, right then and there? Hey, cool. So you said that you want to move, like you're ready to move forward. I'm all about moving forward in life with momentum, because time is our, most valuable resource. And the sooner we start moving towards our goal, the better. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you into our back end right now. I'm going to start logging you in. I'm going to send you an email that's going to have all the credentials so that you can get in there immediately. While I'm doing that, I'm going to just slide you over the payment link here real quick, or say, hey, okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to need your payment information. So we can do it in one payment. You save a little bit, you save 15%, or we can break it up into 3 payments of whatever, right? What card, or which do you prefer? And you just leave it there. And now if they had told you that they wanted to move forward, but now they're hesitating to pay, now you realize that, you haven't overcome all the objections. There's still something there that you can overcome. And if you had let them off the call, you would not have discovered that. And now that sale is gone. Now you have the opportunity to bring up whatever that objection is, and then take it down and work through it, and then reapply for the close. If you do this, you will not have people slipping through the cracks nearly so much. You won't have people ghosting you. Get their payment information, get them hooked up into the system as quickly as possible. And your main goal here is to deliver a win as quickly as possible within that first 24-hour period, so that they don't have buyer's remorse, so that they come out of this going, this was a really good decision. And that's on your product, that's on your fulfillment side. But that is some sales concepts to think about for increasing the conversion rate of your offers. If you're offering something between $2,000 and $5,000, this is a good framework that's going to help you a lot. So hope this brings you guys some value. As always, thanks for being here. We'll catch you in the next call. Or it's not a call. What is this? Podcast. Yeah, one of those. See you guys.